Today on What Went Wrong, we're going to talk about you not really shocking the shit out of us. Hi, I'm Brett Mauser, and I've made over 40 feature films. And I've put a lot of twists and turns in my films, tried to keep people on their toes and not knowing what to expect and turning things around on them. But I always try to make sure that if you watch it a second time around, it all makes sense. And you can see the hints and the clues and that we had it all planned out. In the Innocent Saga, the original version, it ends in a way that a lot of people are disappointed with. Some people, I guess, even said that they felt a little gypped or that it was a cop-out. Or that I wrote myself into a corner and then just had to, come up with a way to end it. But that's absolutely not the case. And it even when you saw it, I explained, look, the clues were here all the time. People disagreed with it. Sticking the ending is one of the toughest things to do. But there's a lot of films out there that try to be shocking or put twists in just for the sake of twists and turns, and just for the sake of whether it's being shocking or whether they want the Shyamalan along ding dong ending. And I think the sad thing, in a way it's sad, in a way it's challenging, but the new generation of filmmakers, or anybody that's a filmmaker now, has that challenge because you can't shock us anymore, really. There's a movie about three people being sewn together mouth to ass in a human centipede. There's not much more you can. When it comes to shock, you're not going to make us go. Oh. Yeah. At least, there's going to be the prudes out there. There's going to be people out there that are just going to be offended just to be offended. Right. But it's not like what has not been seen. Right.
Well, and it's one of the things. Once again, we've talked about this. The first time I watched Sixth Sense. Okay. And spoiler. If you haven't seen it, okay. So the first time I saw it, and I'd heard there was a twist, okay. Then of course, then the twist happens, and you're like, what? And then you go back and then of course they show. One of the things I love is when the twist happens, they then go back and show you all these scenes where, had you been paying attention, well, not really paying attention, but had you known, you'd have been like, oh yeah, I liked that a lot. And then there was also Nicole Kidman and the Others, which you've, spoilers, but there was a twist in that one. And I'll admit, I liked The Sixth Sense. It was the first one I'd ever seen. And The Others was kind of cool. Nicole Kidman, for all her weird, she's a very good actress. She really is. And the kids did well. And it was suitably creepy, and of course I love creepy. I don't necessarily like jump out scary, but I love creepy. I love those creepy where it's one of the reasons I like Black Hole so much, is it's just creepy and foreboding the whole time. I love that creepy forebodingness. And then of course the problem was, as the Shyamalan movies went on, you had The Village, which I was like, okay. And then Signs, and I was like, oh, don't be aliens. Don't be aliens. Oh, aliens, like, damn it. That's my problem with that one. It was like, aliens, really, had to make it aliens, and then the aliens didn't make any sense. Spoilers once again. It's like, okay,
let's invade a world.
Let's invade a world where the actual air is poisonous. The air is poisonous. Most of the surface of the planet is poisonous. In the summertime, in certain parts of the planet, poison rains from the sky every single day. Looking at you, Florida. Let's go to a place that everything in this planet, everything in it has a little bit of that poison in it. Even the most arid, dry, awful places. And in fact, if you dig a little too deep, you're going to find poison, So that's a different subject altogether. But you started to run into a thing where it's like, is he making these twists just to be twisted? Really? So I agree with you completely. Twists are good to have. I liked the joke about the sit back, relax, we're gonna f with your mind. I love those movies. I love them. I love them like no other. But when you have a twist for the sake of a twist, it's cheap. Because you spend all this time building up to that twist, and the problem is, once it gets out that that's what the twist is, it's gone.
Yeah.
Your movie makes no sense, and it doesn't matter anymore.
But it's not, and it's become that the twist is now just a way to do shock. It's
Right.
just, it's a way to shock you without being a part of the story.
Right.
And that's something that I see a lot of my students do. They try to do shocking things or anti-establishment things with drugs or that. And it's one thing there was like a phase there where a lot of students were doing horror films, and just trying to do all this blood and gore. Now I get it because when I was in high school and some of the films that we made,
I remember
it wasn't about the gore. It was about being silly and fun and how can we do that? How can we make a dude's head explode?
Well, that one time we stabbed the one dude and we had a balloon full of red, whatever it was. And I ended up stabbing. It was like a Tale of Two Cities. And I was the guy who stabbed the rich whatever. And I stabbed him and of course he went like that. And every bodily fluid came shooting out of his little hole.
Every organ hemorrhaged at once and came through the one hole.
But it was silly, goofy, and we knew. And we actually had a joke in the thing where I was looking at the camera, and I was like, I looked at the camera. I had the knife in my hand, and watching this dude. If you had a picture of this guy, he's like this. I'm looking over his shoulder, and there's this red stream shooting up like this high. And I actually, with the knife, I was like watching him. I looked at the camera. I was like. And so the joke was, this is stupid and silly and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
If you're, once again, as we talked about, if you're going for stupid and silly, do it.
Yeah, but
if you're not,
and I learned so much from those, not just about how to do violence, whatever, but about camera angles and things like that. Because and I sort of just stumbled over it. Was one of the cheapest, easiest effects, and I've covered it in this series before, is getting a brain pan from behind, where the camera, just putting the blood in the mouth. Somebody puts the gun, bang.
We did that.
Spit that out, and you learn camera angles in that, and you realize, and it's the same. It's basically the same way as a John Wayne punch, where you're able to fake the punch. And I remember it was a movie called Right Here Waiting. It was the first feature that I did, and it was in high school. And yes, I stole the name from in the saga.
All your movies had song titles.
They always had song titles. But it was the first attempt at the Final Limit, which was the Untouchable. I just seen the Untouchables my junior year or something, and I loved that. So I was doing these kind of films.
We were always dressed in the fedoras and stuff like that. Yeah.
And there was the opening scene was going to be a drug deal gone wrong, and the guy's running away, and he's supposed to get shot, and we didn't know squibs or anything like that. How do we do that?
Really,
how do you do that? Hollywood had them, but how do we get them? So we were like, okay, I want to see the guy. I want to see the blood. So we had a tube, like one of those, I guess ear syringes or whatever.
Oh yeah.
And that was filled with blood. And it ran down a tube, and then it came out here. We cut a little hole in the shirt. So he's running, and I was using even a dolly at the time. It was my dad's old golf cart caddy that had the two wheels.
Oh yeah.
And I'm hanging on with the camera as someone's pulling me along. And so the guy's running, and he's got to do it himself. So he's got to squeeze it, and it's supposed to go plat. And he goes, oh, and he falls down. Well, he's running, and he goes, whoosh, and he goes, boop, boop, boop. And he starts laughing as he's dying.
As he falls over.
Yeah, and then I start laughing. Everybody's laughing. But you learn these little it starts getting your brain working.
Yeah, those were a lot of fun.
And that's why we did the violence back then. It was fun. It was cheesy. It was
violent. Our violence wasn't very violent. It was slapstick more than
the original. And the most disgusting thing I think we've ever done on film was in Serial Rabbit, and it wasn't even a kill. It was a girl popping a zit in a mirror. And it was because Serial Rabbit took place, at this rave where nobody showed up to, and we finished the film. It was 60 minutes, and we were like, we need to be 70 minutes to be a feature. So instead of doing what some other filmmakers did at the time, which is made a 10 or 12 minute credit sequence, we went back and we started just throwing in some more kills. So we had this girl walk into a bathroom and she looks up in the mirror and we had fake zits on her and everything. And we had her look up and she splattered it. So there's Brad, she's pushing the prosthetic zit. Brad's just off camera. I can't remember whether he flung it or he had a little, maybe there was like a spoon and he had creamed corn. It went whoop on the mirror, so it splattered on the mirror, and she went like that. And then she pops another one, and then it gets splattered with blood, and the rabbit's behind her, and he's
good one.
But it was more about, okay, how can we do this? How do we pull this off?
Yeah, the goofy kind of shock, I guess,
which was always what Serial Rabbit.
It's always a Serial Rabbit. The goofy stuff we used to do, the violence being whatever it is. Little different than you just kind of doing this stuff to shock us. You can't. I mean, just come on.
At this point, at this stage of the game, no.
Yeah. But I'm not saying don't try. I'm not saying not to try it, but you're gonna have to think a lot more than we did.
Yeah.
To come up with something good. Have the shock, have the twist, but don't make your movie contingent upon that twist,
right? Or that moment of shock.
Or if you do, and so I also look at the others, which is one of the movies I point to when I talk about a shock ending. That even if it wasn't necessarily going to get me, there was enough creepy stuff going on inside the movie to keep me interested, because there was all kinds of creepy, weird stuff going on in that. So even if I walked into that movie knowing the twist ending, I'm still going to enjoy the movie because I get to see a bunch of good actors and good storytelling coming together. And so the twist at the end is like, but it's not. Even if I'd have known the twist ending, I still would have watched the movie.
Yeah. Let's not just talk about violence and the twist endings, but this is another thing, especially with students. Another way that they're kind of left out in the cold or in the wrong generation is they try to tackle these social issues.
Ugh.
And they think that they're being original and that they're I'm really making a statement. And let's be honest. One of the big things is same-sex marriages and same-sex relationships. Oh, I'm going to do a movie about a bisexual this or that. Look, we've seen it all now.
Yeah.
It's like we're going to do a story about I'm going to show how homosexual marriage, blah blah. It's like, all right, I've seen that.
No one cares.
It's not a big deal.
No one cares.
But there are film festivals that cater to the LGBTQ alphabet soup.
Yeah. And if you want to make a movie that gets into the AZQALMNOP, whatever the it is, if you want to make a movie that does that, go with God, my friend.
Yeah, I'm not saying don't do it.
Just don't expect any of us to care.
And to be, to say that you're solving the world's problems, or you're helping contribute to, or you're raising awareness. Everybody knows you're not doing anything that's
same-sex marriage was approved. Well, that's a whole different subject, but same-sex marriage is 5 years old now, guys. 5.
Yeah, and most of us didn't care back then.
Not much.
You had the outliers, but that's with anything.
Well, and I have. I realize my problems with gay marriage have nothing to do with actual gay marriage. It's more about laws, but that's because I'm not anti-government, but I don't like that kind of stuff. So even me, who is going to be on the other side of this spectrum from most people, you're not impressing me.
Yeah,
I've seen it.
Yeah, and we're
I served in the military with gay soldiers. They're not freaking me out.
And we come from pretty conservative backgrounds.
Super conservative backgrounds.
And it's not, it's like, I've seen it,
Yeah, so what?
And it is, and I watch, these alphabet soup film festivals or whatever.
So ridiculous.
And, it's like, so what? Hey, I won this, this film festival. So what? You only, you're competing against 2% of the films that are out there, because I can't get my films in there.
Right.
So whoop-de-doo. I want to get, if I can get into a film festival that accepts any and all films, and I win that, then I've accomplished something.
Right.
But if you've hedged off 2%, and this isn't just the LGBTQ AM and LLP crowd. it's environmental films,
Right.
or raising awareness for abortion films or feminist films or whatever. You're not impressing me that you've got a good film because you're only competing against 4 or 5 other films.
To make your film, and once again, if that's what you're interested in and that's all you want to do,
Go with God.
Go with God, my friends. But understand that in the grand scheme of things, if you're trying to make a film that only appeals to 2% of the population, 2% of the population is going to watch that film. And maybe only 2% of the population of that population is going to watch the film. So if you want to make a film that like you and your friends and maybe your mother is going to watch, if that's all that's going to see it, great. If you want to make a film that has a wider appeal, and if you want to make money on your film, or at least get some renown for yourself or your cause, then you're going to have to expand your horizons a little bit than this one little bitty thing.
Yeah, and it's gotten to the point where it's not even like a raising awareness. There's a moment in Last
This is
Jedi.
on the subject now.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're still taking on shock and doing it for the shock, but there's a moment in Last Jedi where, like, at the end when everybody's celebrating, there's 2 women that kiss romantically. It's not like a, and it's just sort of like, I'm not going. First of all, 2 women,
Hey.
but it was 2 guys kissing. It wouldn't, you're not going to get us going, oh my God. What you get from me now is really, because you're obviously injecting your ideas and your agenda into that. When it's like nobody cares, but the way that you're doing this is you've taken me out of the film. You have booted me out of the film, not because I'm upset at a gay kiss or because I'm upset at lesbians. And come on, let's face it, who doesn't love lesbians? I'm not booted out because of that. I'm booted out because you have brought me out of my imaginary reality, brought me into reality where I now am consciously aware of the director, writer, and producer putting that intentionally in their film.
Right.
If it was a guy and a girl kissing, I would be kind of like, well, that was kind of odd.
That's random.
Because, I mean, if you look, I think the only kiss that you saw in the celebration of the original sequel were the main characters.
Yeah.
You didn't have, like, Bob X-Wing pilot and, Jesse X-Wing and Y-Wing pilot have a romantic kiss in the background.
Right.
You didn't know who they were.
Yeah.
You don't care who they are.
No.
So why have the kiss? It has now pulled me out of the film and thrown me into your agenda, and I don't like it.
Yeah.
And I don't want it, and I'm not going to pay money for it.
Right.
Don't call me, homophobic, whatever, because I could care less about what people do.
Right.
But I don't need it thrown at me
Right.
and injected at me,
Right.
and to bring me out of that 2 hours that I'm supposed to be escaping.
Right.
The same thing with sports, So to wrap it up, it was whether it's shock of violence or shock of the twist ending or shock of a political agenda.
Right.
Don't let that be the primary reason that you're making the film. Remember, I'm not going to a movie to be taught.
Right.
I'm not going to a movie to be educated or to be indoctrinated. I'm going to escape for an hour and a half to 2 hours.
Escapism is one of the reasons, and our grandparents talked about that. They used to go to the movies to escape what was going on. And my parents' generation with Vietnam and the things they were having to deal with. You go to watch the movies to escape from all that. You want to get away. You want to go to the world and watch, Humphrey Bogart. And you want to see Rick and Ilsa. Are they going to make it? What's going on? You want to watch John Wayne out in the range doing his thing. You want to see, Dorothy and the Tin Man and the Scarecrow going into an imaginary land. You don't want them to talk to you about what's happening today. I'm escaping what's happening today. I purposely left what's out there behind to go into a darkened room and sit with my popcorn and my Coke and my
watch
candy
blow up for 2 hours.
and watch whatever I want to watch. I want to watch Michael Bay blow up the world. I want to watch Darth Vader blow up the world, or I just want to watch volcanoes blow up the world, or maybe I want to watch Dorothy and the Tin Man and the Scarecrow find their way home, or maybe I want to see, a story about a creepy, weird house with a woman in the bathtub. Maybe that's what I want to watch. Maybe I want to watch the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Maybe I want to see, My Little Pony. Doesn't matter. You want to get away from what's out there. Stop bringing out there into the imaginary world.
And to be fair, and I know people would say this, but if that's the kind of movie that you want to see, if you want that politics and everything injected into it, go see one of those movies that is about that topic or in your face about that.
Go watch.
Don't try to hide it. Don't take a franchise that has that has been the same thing for 20 years, whether it's the comic book stuff or the Star Wars, and try to inject that stuff in that. If you want that stuff in a sci-fi thing, go and create a sci-fi thing, franchise or whatever, that is about that.
Right.
But you can't, because people don't want to see that. And when you do that, it doesn't make any money.
Right.
So stop f***ing with our shit.
Yeah.